fasten at the ridge, and if I hip on the hip, and then I will let the panel expand off of the eave and in the valley.
Is there a way that decision is made?
I almost never, unless it's spec'd, I don't like having exposed fastener at the low side. So yeah, anytime you have a screw that, because a lot of times the screws will just back out over time. So I always like to go to the high side. But the important thing is that you just don't mix and match, because that's what I see sometimes is you get the installer hemming the panels here, and then up the valley they run screws all up into the valley. Doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, now let me throw on a piece of my rake trim now. And this rake trim's cut to the correct. I'm sorry, it has a roof flange, so it's set to the perfect height. So you can do a couple of things with this. First, let me cut it. And I'm going to use the proper snips to make this cut so I don't distort this piece, right? The reds. Because if I would have cut with the greens, distorted it, now I've got to fix that before I can install it. And let me just show you, if this happened to be a two-piece, my notch would just look like this, you know. Just slap right over the top and leave a little gap in there, just so these can slide the things together. You don't want to go over, because then you're going to cause yourself some headaches. All right. Install screws into this panel. This has the film on the panel. This may have had films on all of your trims. What I always recommend is taking those trims taking the film off right away on the job. Whenever I was on the job, I always had one person, either the person who didn't mind doing it or the cheapest labor I had, stand there and peel every single trim off, stack them up day one, so that nobody left some ridge caps sitting out in the sun, had all this bake on it, and then we had to order new material. It actually happened. I see Metal Sales name all over my panels, and at that point, it won't even come off in tiny flakes. It just, the whole roof had to come off, and they had to put a new roof on.
So you didn't take that off at all?
At all. Yeah, it was crazy.
Good answer.
I don't know how it happened, but yeah, it was like 6 months. All right, so I'll do that layout I was talking about. I'm trying to make it look somewhat realistic.
This is good shit. We're very fortunate to have this training.
Number one, I didn't speak Spanish, and the majority of my guys spoke Spanish and no English. And I would never want to show up day one to a job and have my 12 guys trying to keep 12 guys busy. It just would never work out for me. So I made a story pole. And I used to have one of these made for every single job that was sent out. 1, 2, 2.
Is that an inch you're making there?
Yeah. The only thing that really matters is that these are,
Is that for your fasteners?
no, this is just a layout. These are, we're going to pretend that this is whatever my true width of my panel is. So if it's a 16-inch panel, I'd make it 16. But let's say vertical seam panel, you got one of those sent out.
Yeah, we mostly do vertical seam.
Okay, so alright, so here's my 10-foot story pole, I always call it. And this just has my 16-inch marks in it, right? So what I will do is I'll check my layout. And so a full panel is 4 inches. Here is what we're going with. So either this would be my layout. That's one option. The other option is half to begin with, so 2 inches, but if this was a story pole for 16s, it'd be 8 inches. And then 2 inches after, or 4 inches from there. So 4, 4. All right, so looking at this with the panel ribbing here, what's the best layout?
To the right.
To the right, right. Because it's going to allow the most
The water.
water flow around that penetration. It's going to be equal on both sides of it. So, now what I want to do is find a perpendicular line to my eave. Now if I've put all my eave trim up and it's all wavy, then don't use that for the 3, 4, 5 line I'm going to show you. Go ahead and chalk a line, say 2 inches up, so I have a straight line. And then we'll do our 3, 4, 5. Right out. Go ahead and finish off here. So you got my panels here all the way across the face. Now if I go up the top, the way I do this is I hold my story pole. Let me use the black. This one's so wide I can't do it. Hold my story pole parallel with the eave. And then I just slide this. Well, number one, this one's easy enough to mark. The next one, you just move it over, slide it up. Next one. Next one.
Oh, that's awesome. I never thought about doing it that way. I use a framing square.
Yeah. That's pretty slick, right?
There we go. So if I'm into a hip, I do the same thing. As soon as I pass the hip, I just chalk another line and work it over. So what's nice about doing this is, if I do a proper layout, I could cut every single panel on the ground and I could install the whole roof afterward, because if I did a proper layout, it would have to be correct if the layout's right. So what I used to do is I'd get up with one guy, lay out the whole roof really quickly. Day 2, I get my crews going, and one person who's good at cutting can keep the whole crew going. Because I can go, you could be doing straight panels for a while, I can just come up here, measure this quadrant, 22 feet down to here. You know, let's say this is a lot more panels. Let's say it's 12 panels across and 3 feet down. Just put those panels on the ground, turn them over. I don't snap them together, but I set them together, chalk the line, cut all the panels on the ground, fold them, and then you take them up and you just rifle them on. Because I was a union contractor, we had to be twice as fast and our quality had to be better. So what I'd like to see is this: when somebody up on the roof, marking a panel, cutting it, folding, installing. Mark, cut, fold, install. Because you're losing all kinds of time doing that. You can be much more efficient if you just find your quadrants, cut and fold them down on the ground. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Send them to me long. That's all right. We have a minimum cut, and I think it must be 4 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these at 37 feet. This is going to be And even on these tray stuff, I'll give that a little tweak to the side. It really helps them bite a little bit. Alright, first thing I want to do is notch the bottom of my panel. I've got a 1.5 inch extended eave, but I never will notch and fold a 1.5 there because well, I got 90-degree angle here, but as you go up in slope, the dimension 1.5 shrinks. It will get much smaller. So if I say I'm on an 8/12 slope and I shove an 1.5 back and squeeze it, I'm going to end up scratching that fascia all up. So you're fine with 1 inch until you get to a very long panel. So all I need to do, I'll just set this at 1 inch and just mark the very corners here of this particular panel. I'll leave that top portion. A bar folder here on the 1 inch side. And I would normally go over 2x4, but I'll just use my hand right now. I like these kind of bar folder style as opposed to the ones with the handle. The ones with the handle, the torque point is away, so you're rolling the metal up and you tend to turn.
Rolls of metal.
Rolls of corners. It'll end up turning the corners, and then all of a sudden you're starting to install and you're stepping, and that's because you didn't want to keep a nice corner. We also have 40 inches of these. 40 inches are nice when you come into a valley and it's too long for the one piece, so you don't have to do this. You know, just get 2 people on it all at once, and it makes it nice and clean. All right, I'm going to screw this on just to show you how I would finish off the panel, and then I'll cut it down to size. We'll finish the bottom side, the other side.
That was cool.
This is a good training.
My rolling tool, and I could use, for the first 10 years of my career, we always just use hand folds here. Turn it up slowly, take a little, might take 5 minutes, 30, 40 feet, whatever it is.
All right, you can go.
Just makes it easier. So I'll set myself to 1 inch
Okay.
here, and just roll along this edge. Now picture that dome that I showed you guys. That was done with one of those tools. I just made my pattern, added 2 inches to it, and I just rolled that right on site. And then I went to Harbor Freight, literally, and bought one of those shrinking.
Oh, the shrinkers?
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't use the shrink side, I used the stretching side.
The stretching side.
On the top of that rib, which then gave me that curve to those panels. Alright, ready to go here. You guys didn't tell me, no, okay, that's good. I thought I screwed it up.
The wrong side.
If you guys see that I'm screwing up, tell me. Or just say, hey, that's wrong. Because I have no problem. I'd much rather you tell me than have to do it again. Alright, one thing I didn't mention, butyl tape. So I really just traced out the bottom there. Shoot, sorry, I don't remember how I just marked this. Make sure the shirts are right. I apologize for sweating all over the place.
We do it every day. Went all over the place.
I was known for them. My guys, are you? What's your nationality?
Me?
Yeah,
Mexican.
Mexican. My guys are from Central America, and they'd go out there in 100-degree weather and wear the long sleeve shirts, and they wouldn't even drip until it was in the 90s, you know. And I'd get out there and it's 60 degrees, and we just perform. All right. So now, to hook this on, once I get it in place where I want it, I go ahead and pinch it closed here. Right? Now, the way I like to install it, I'm going to do it the way I like to install it. I like this closed to begin with. Just because it's easier for me to do on the ground than it is to do up on the slope. The only thing though is if you do this, then you have to slide your flashing on as opposed to setting it on and pinching it. So if these don't line up perfectly, that's why I have that tab there. You line them up, you put the rivet in, and it's nice and clean.
This is Tim 911. This is what happens when you got a Jeremy job. He starts another roof before he has another one done. What an idiot. Because that's where they overspray it, see? You have a thicker, where it's hydrating it.
But I've seen it stop some leaks that it's very difficult to stop. I don't know how long it lasts.
Apparently it's stopping here, right?
Rubber gears or?
I mean, I don't think it's recommended by the roofing industry yet.
This is the second time I've seen it used. And that's why I was asking.
They sell it in a jar now. You know?
Yeah, they sell in 5 gallon buckets.
Gallons too. If I trowel it out. It's called. I mean, you can put it in boat. You can just put a screen door down and make it into a boat floor. Dude, it becomes a home.